Dear God, thank you for this day. Thank you for giving me for the day. Please let the meditation of my heart and the words from my mouth be holding on to you. Help me to focus and recall what I read. Amen. Alright, Chris. Alright, peculiar people. Chris, the stereotype here. This is going to be a short video. Well, I always say that they're not long, but I'm going to try to keep this one brief because it's late and I have members of my family who are asleep. And sorry for the weird upload schedule. I suffer from a condition known as procrastination, and it's been affecting me. It's been affecting people all over the world, but one day we will find a cure. So here's to helping. But I'm not sure which night this is. This is about, I've been doing this since Thursday, and it is tonight is Thursday night. So I guess it's about almost a full week I've been doing this, and it's been good. I read Mark's account again. I think I'm gonna read Luke tomorrow, and give me a chance to recall what I read. One thing I did not talk about that much is how the Pharisees who wanted to take Jesus at night, like they were so afraid of the crowd that, like, that's how much people loved him, but they were so afraid of the crowd that they knew that they had to do it at night. They had to do it subtly. It says subtly, and that's just like they knew they were doing wrong. They knew they were doing wrong, and they still did it. Even when they when Judas gives them the money back, they go and they don't keep it in the church because it's blood money, but they murdered someone and they don't acknowledge that. See, they were so fixated on the law that eventually the law made no sense. They nitpicked. Sorry if I'm off today. It's been a rough day, but try to keep it positive. Think about try to talk about Peter for a second. Just the shock of him finding out his true weaknesses, because he said, even if everyone else runs, I will stay with you. But he ran anyway. So I don't know. Like, Peter always thought he was this macho leader guy. That happened to me. I can think that I'm this big guy, or I'm this big spiritual guy, but in the end I'm just weak like Peter. And yeah. So nobody's perfect, but we aspire to be perfect for Christ. We do our best and he does the rest. So always keep that in mind. Let's talk about Jesus in the garden. Talked about before, but I'm gonna focus on it. Just the weaknesses he had. Like, he was in an emotional place, but he might have seemed weak, but it takes a lot of strength to choose to go through what he did. And Jesus was a perfect being, and a perfect being felt fear. A perfect being felt pain. A perfect being asked God to not have to go through with something unless it was truly his will. So we should take our definition of perfection and change it up to God's definition of perfection. rough, strange day for me. Interesting how I do believe it was Peter who was the one who cut the guard's ear off, but from so far I've read, no one has outright said Peter. So like the people who were writing this down, they didn't want to call Peter out or make him look bad. Was that the situation? That what they didn't mention it was? Also, in Mark 14, verse 51, talks about, there followed him a certain young man having a linen cloth cast about his naked body, and the young man laid hold on to him. Then he left the linen cloth and fled from them naked. I'm not sure who that was or what's the point of that story. Was that, I know one of the disciples followed him. Was that John? Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure who that was, but interesting. If you know, put it down in the comments for whoever's watching. Let's talk about verse 58, Mark 14. We heard him say, I will destroy this temple that is made with hands, and within 3 days I will build another made without hands. So you know, he was talking about not necessarily, hold up, let me read that again for myself. Yeah, so I guess his death destroyed the temple. It rebuilt a new life for us. Because when he was in 3 days, he was from the grave. So I guess that built a new temple, a new life for us, a new freedom in Christ that we can always have, despite our pain and our difficulties. I'm trying to keep this brief. I'm gonna look at some notes I wrote down. So I mentioned these. Talk about Pilate's amazement. In Mark 15, I know there's a way to. Maybe there's not. Okay. Mark 15, 5 through 6. But Jesus yet answered nothing, so that Pilate marveled. And I always wondered why Pilate marveled. And I think it was maybe because Jesus had this, even says that he held his composure. So Jesus, because you know, maybe it was a situation where, like, if he had said something, he would have been released. Because he could have said, this person can vouch for me, this person can vouch for me, as the blind man I healed, as the deaf people I've healed. But he didn't say that. Maybe that's why Pilate was amazed, because chances are all Jesus had to say was, there's something, because the Pharisees' stories, they weren't added up, they weren't making sense. And he was also probably marveled at the fact that he chose to just stay quiet and just be not necessarily calm, but just not say anything. Because if that was you and me, we would be saying, oh, like people usually go, oh, after all the things I did for you, or after all the things I did for these people. But Pilate was amazed that he didn't do that, that he just let them say whatever. And also, it talks about, it says Pilate, on Mark 15, verse 10, it says Pilate knew that they gave him up for anger, that No, not anger, I'm sorry. They gave him up for envy. They arrested him for envy. So, the Pharisees were jealous. They knew. That was the reason. They didn't care about the law. They didn't care about whether or not he had spoken blasphemy. They didn't care about the healings. They were jealous. He was more popular. He was the one people were talking about. And you see how he broke the commandment of not coveting. And because he was envious, he also murdered. And he also hired people to say false things. So they also bared false witnesses. Was that jealousy, murder, lying? That's 3 commandments broken. I'm trying to see if that breaks any others. I don't know if there's a break adultery or anything. But, yeah. You break one commandment, you break all of them. And it's just a slippery slope for those guys, you know. It's sad that they got so caught up in power that they would rather have a temporary richness than a eternal richness. And that's something we gotta remind ourselves. I gotta remind myself that earthly pleasures, being rich, being whatever, being comfortable, being uncomfortable, it doesn't matter, because in the end, Christ is offering mansions and love and a paradise for his people. All this is temporary. It's going to go away. But that won't go away. His love won't go away. Heaven won't go away. And earth, his word won't go away. I'm going to read bombs. I'm going to make too many. I'm going to get to his resurrection, and I'm going to end this. Sorry, I'm trying to think. I guess what his resurrection means for me is if Jesus wanted us to feel guilty for his death, then he would have stayed dead. And he comes back to his disciples and he says, whoever believeth is baptized, whoever will be saved, but whoever does not believeth will not be saved, will be damned. And yeah, you know, if you believe, just mean to believe. If you want to enter heaven with Jesus, just believe him, trust in his word. And it says they will cast out devils, they will be immune to poisons, venomous bites. So God's offering us something. He's offering you something. He's offering you a life of peace and paradise. He died. He got smoten with a thing they called a reed. It was like I guess a big old rod, because they used the same thing to feed him the alcohol. But he didn't want it. Jesus got tempted a few times while he was on the cross. He got tempted by the people to calm down, and that would have been my last straw, to calm down. And he got tempted by one of the thieves that was next to him to say, like, because he was saying, why don't you release us both? And they were saying, you know, that was the devil in him. Even as Satan, I heard that in a sermon. That was the devil in that guy, because even Satan had said, if you are the Son of God, do so and so and so. So even till his dying moments, Christ was tempted. And he came. He is the only divine human, I heard. And he came. He'd never be the same after what he did for us. And I had a thought. I lost it. I love something that I always wanted to talk about. Oh, what was it? It'll come to me. It'll come to me. It'll come to me. Ah, goodness. This is painful. Okay, yeah. Whenever he was beaten, they would say, "Prophesy, prophesy. Who hit you?" You know, I bet you know. I bet you he knew he hit him. He knew. He knows. He knows the heart. He knows the hairs on his head. He knew who hit him. But he died for every single person that hit him. Every single person that spat in his face. They said that they clothed him in a purple robe and mocked him by saluting, just making fun of the guy who just did nothing but help people and heal people and bring a new light to the world. He died for those people. He died for the ones that mocked him. And when pretty much we were trying to make a parody out of him. He died for those people. He died for the guilty. He died for the sinner. He died for the mockers. He died for you. He died because he loves you. And he wants you to change. Why? Because he needs you and he wants you in his kingdom. And he can't have you in his kingdom if you don't want to be there. Because eternity would suck and you won't want to be there if you're not like Christ. So keep that in mind. I'm going to end this video here. I want to keep it as short as possible. And I'll touch upon something that I haven't mentioned. I'm doing this every night, so eventually I'll cover like everything there's to cover. And that's all for tonight. And remember, you are love, your heart's in 1,000